meeting of the Town Council of Wausau. Please stand for the invocation, followed by the pledge. Mr. Julian will lead the pledge. Our God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this season. Thank you for our Lord that has come to give us life and life more abundantly. We pray for this town. We pray for this council. We pray for the decisions and the deliberations that we'll make tonight. We ask that those things that we do will be pleasing in your will for our lives. Get yourself the glory in all that's done in your name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody get peanuts?
No, just the mayor.
Just the how we have it.
Oh my Lord, that is something he really needs, isn't it? Too.
It's plastic.
That's,
Oh, it's,
thank you. That was like
You're
one
welcome.
use.
No, you know, they try to stay on the limit, that they can give you something and not, you know.
Wondered, if you get too much, you have to put it in reports or something like that. Welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Is it Mr. Marshall? We're so glad that you're here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
You see the consent agenda, approval of the agenda, the minutes, the reconciled bank statements, and the fire department minutes. If you've had the chance to read those, we will accept a motion on the consent agenda, which will include the adoption of all those things we mentioned.
I make that motion.
We have a motion. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Walsnail? Yes. And the chair votes yes. Okay.
I don't have anybody's time in, but Steve wants to speak.
Okay. Steve?
Y'all should have two pictures up there. One is the dedication plaque for the recreation, and the other one is the doorway between the two doors going into the new building, the new part of the building, the rec department. I want to make a motion that nobody's gonna see that plaque where it's at. And it's just gonna be forgotten there. I want to make it where we take that plaque and put it right there between the two doors, so when everybody comes in, they'll see that plaque right there, and they'll be able to tell of everything instead of hiding it over there on them bricks. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I think it'd be better for the town too, because it's gonna go unnoticed and unseen where it is right now.
I asked Steve, could we develop a plan to do something with that, because once we let the buildings down, the walls down, or whatever, I know I can walk around that building and see that brick monument that it's gonna be hidden. And this is what you think will work.
I believe it'd be the best thing for the rec department, for the Wausau Crossing Palace, and
See if those names that's on there, only Diane is left with us. Matter of fact, Judge Cole was our attorney at that time. He recently passed, maybe 1 or 6 weeks ago, something like that. Judge Russell Cole. He was our attorney, our town attorney at that time. And if we wanted to do that, is that something you can do, or we're gonna have to get
we
a
can
contract?
we can take two flat bars and put it on there and put it up there. And if we need to move it anytime, we can move it without tearing the building up.
Okay.
And we'll make it work.
We wouldn't have to, or would we need to punch a hole through that, or drill a hole through there?
No, actually, we'll just remove it and we'll put it where it happens on the bricks. We'll put it on a flat bar behind there. Use a flat bar to put it on the building so we don't damage nothing. And that's the way, if we need to move it and remove it, we'll be able to take it off the building and move it, or put it back on when the construction's on. It won't be lost, it won't be damaged.
Can we polish it?
I think
Well, we can.
have it cleaned together.
I think you put a high polish thing on it, polish right back the way it was. And over the years, I mean, it's got some wear on it.
Yeah. And you recommend this is better solution?
Yes, I looked
Thank
up
you for
there.
looking at it for me.
Well, I looked up right there, but this would be the best solution to do it.
What the council think about this, or?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, and that way everybody will see it, it goes in and out the front entrance, okay?
Yeah,
Calvin, I'll accept the motion then.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Well, Steve, Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll second it.
and the motion is second, how you vote, Mr. Wolfson?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
The chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Is this something that you can manage for us?
Yes, I will manage to take care of it.
Okay, so,
It'll probably be after Christmas, but we'll get it done.
yeah, yeah. Just done before Thunder, that'd be good.
Yes, it will be done before Monday. It will be done before Easter.
Great. Sheriff Cruz, so good to see you, sir.
Just come to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to address the council? or-
No, everything's good. It's a busy world we live in. It seems
Yeah.
to be getting more busier and more traffic and, but everything's good.
Right.
I'm blessed with the staff that we got. Just wanted to, been out of pocket just a little bit and shoulders and stuff like that. So I'm somewhat getting back in the swing of things.
Rotator cuff?
Rotator cuff and bicep.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Wolfson, you want to address the sheriff or Ms. Carter? Just,
No,
How are we coming on the, well, we're gonna put up some lights for traffic, how are we coming on that?
He'll get back with us on that. That won't actually be on an agenda item. We already voted for that. But when Sheriff Cruz gets ready to install those items, he'll come back. He'll just come and we'll do the check. Yeah, it's done.
The location's been identified and,
still letting everybody know.
yeah, and it's moving forward. They're not here. We met with the company and it is moving forward.
Okay. And then I would say to you, thank you again for continuing. Sometimes newly elected people do some things for a few weeks or a few months. Thank you for continually having an officer at our meetings. And
Absolutely.
everyone that you have sent has always represented the department very well.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you doing that for us.
Absolutely.
And certainly always you're welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay? Where are we then on the
Mr.
agenda?
Paul.
Okay, Mr. Paul Goody.
Wow, that was quick. I was requested to take a look at your sound system, and the good news is you don't have to spend a penny. It was just not being used properly, would be the easiest blanket statement. You guys are going to have a little bit better mic discipline. For instance, John, your microphone is not going to work down there. You're going to have to put it up closer to your mouth. This is an inexpensive VHF system that you're using. It's a wireless system, and it's cheap. It's inexpensive, and you can get by with it, but you're going to have to maximize its potential. We went ahead and adjusted the board. You've got two speakers, as you can see, one in that corner and one in that corner up there. And if your personnel would take the screws out, apparently your speakers got hijacked at one point during a parade and you screwed them down. Well, if they had not been screwed down, I would have had it fixed the way I'm going to tell you I was going to do it by now. And I got here early and I wasn't able to access it. So if they can take those speakers down, you've got one lady who seems to be the toughest one to not be able to hear.
Well, I can't hear.
I'm teasing you, as far as you know. But what my suggestion is going to be is that we take those two speakers and either mount them on the back wall, and especially when Nancy's here, maybe put one right here in front. You've got a monitor channel that'll allow you another two speakers, and so I mean, and I say that jokingly, but
Right.
in all seriousness, if you're going to have older folks in here, and I speak as one myself, and with hearing problems, why not maximize what you've got? So you don't have to spend any money. We just have to rework it and move it around a little bit. Fortunately, that all fits under the contract of what you're already paying me, which actually the increase of which we're going to talk about here in another minute. But so I guess it is going to cost you some money over. But you've got all the stuff that it's going to take. But again, you're going to have to put your microphone up close to your mouth, and I've got them turned up at your.
you're talking about this right here.
Yes, sir. That's a
Put
microphone.
it closer to my mouth.
You need to get it closer.
So we need to wear a little necklace to put it on?
Well, we can actually do that, but another thing is to not do what you're doing, which is to scratch it. Did you hear that noise that was happening when you were? Yeah, that's probably not going to be to your benefit. But we do have the gain and all of the individual sliders turned up as hard as they'll go without feeding back.
Yeah.
So again, you're good, and I'm here at every meeting anyway, so I'll remind you to put, or Nancy will for sure,
Okay, yeah.
to lean into it a little. Now, the thing is, we could put microphones up there like the county commission uses, like we've installed, and we installed those at the county commission years ago up in Chipley. But you're going to push them out of the way. You're not going to want them, because every time you have a sidebar, you're going to push them away so people can't hear what you're saying, just like they do up there, and consequently nobody hears what's going on. These are the best way. They're going to ensure that people are going to hear, but you're going to have to stick them up here close to your collar.
Okay.
Does that satisfy?
Have you done something to it today? Because I think that.
He's turned all
Yeah, he
over.
talking about, I can hear them tonight, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they had been messed with. There was a little girl running around in here when I got here, probably about a year and a half, 2 years old, and she was touching the knobs when I got here. So I'll just, when I come here, I'll just check to make sure they're all at the right place. And I can show Margaret where those are. Over time, people have put magic marker on there saying they all need to be at this level. Nobody can see over there in that dark corner, and bottom line is, it wouldn't be a bad thing if you put some kind of a plastic shield over that so nobody could touch it. But, I mean, it's not that sensitive a situation.
It's probably located, that part is located all right?
Yeah, that could be anywhere. That could be in a closet. The biggest thing is your speakers. You can probably hear well, but Nancy does not have a speaker facing her except for this one here, and that's not the most optimum place. Like I say, we'll stick up, maybe come up with a small speaker that I'll donate that we'll be able to put right up in here in front of this cabinet, and that'll take care of anybody that's right here in front.
Sounds good.
We still need to be careful about our etiquette with the microphone, so our uses.
You mean,
We need to be careful about.
Speaking things that you shouldn't-
making sure that we have them on and that we speak.
oh yeah, to the good. Yeah, and also be careful of saying things you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because as you know, we pick up pretty much everything you say.
Yeah. Good, Ms. Carter? Good. Good? Yeah, okay. Thank you. All this stuff we lay on my desk, and I just,
That's just minutes and all, just,
do you want to?
go ahead and do
Do
Mr.
you want
Conrad.
to do his, or you want, while he's talking,
That'd be fine.
while he's warmed up, you want him to do this? You want to go ahead, Paul? You're on the agenda later, but if you.
Sure, we're requesting an increase for the almost 4 years now. We've held to the same quarterly rate of $750, and all we're asking is that we go up to $1,000 a quarter, which would be the net $1,000 a year increase. So going from $3,000 a year to $4,000. When we started our contract, it did not include any of the taping of the meetings or the dissemination of that edited tape on social media or what have you. And arguably, I think you found it probably to be a value to have that as part of what we do. Also, technically, the website wasn't even part of our job. If you remember, the night we came here to get our contract resolved, we sort of inherited it that night, which we've been happy to do it, but nothing's gone down in price in the last 3 or 4 years, and so we just, it's time for us to have an increase. It's a 30% or 33% increase, and that's what we're respectfully requesting from you tonight.
I think you had to come on the board, and I don't think that John had, we were trying to get a website done, and we had a Mr.
Conrad.
Yeah, well, and over in the jam over here. He was
Oh, Mr. Dukes.
good.
Yeah, he died, yeah.
Yeah, and our website never got off the ground or anything like that, and as Paul said, he was here one night when we were discussing that, and we drew him into the conversation, and actually, that got to being something that he was able to do for us. Do you remember that? I don't know if you've come on the board then or not. This has been, you probably have, because it's been 4 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. You probably were, what John had. But that's what it was.
But the videotaping is the best thing that's ever happened to us, I think. It keeps us straight and it keeps the public informed. Because we don't have much participation in our meetings.
We don't. And when I'm asked sometime what do y'all do, I can refer them to the video, or I can go back and review the video and say, this is what we did do and all that. So, he's, asking for $250 a quarter or $1,000 a year, and your bill is quarterly. So, what's the council's pleasure on that? What's the budget look
The
like?
budget's covered, and we got
The
the.
budget will cover it.
We got money in the budget. Well, let's do it then.
Okay, that's a motion.
That's a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second. We alternate now. One of the motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you for the added benefits. You'll soon be like Cliff now, where they'll soon be doing more for us that you don't get paid for.
John does already, he's been,
John already.
Big John standing there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that brings us to the clerk. We don't have anyone signed in. Does anybody in the audience need to speak to us or want to address us before we move down the agenda? Okay, clerk, that's good.
Right, well, we've advertised since the last meeting at one stop and on our website for our maintenance position. We have one application, David Ferguson. Y'all don't have that application because y'all are familiar with the last time and everything else, you know. We know David, we know his work, and that's our one applicant. Has everybody worked? David was here before, and David Ferguson. David was our maintenance man before he came to quit.
Okay.
Yeah, he does good. And this is strictly for, he'll basically be inmate supervisor, and that's contingent, it's still contingent upon passing the background check with DOC. Our background check is a background check, we do it, but DOC does a background check. So,
His name, he would be just inmate worker.
yeah, if the prison didn't let the inmates out, or if we didn't need the inmates that day, he would work with Tim.
Okay.
He would be here 28 hours a week, 4 days a week, 7 hours a day.
He could do anything, and if Tim got into something where he needed the
Yeah.
inmates, then he would come on and be there to supervise them and do whatever Tim.
Well, you know, we sure don't want to lose the inmates.
No.
We need to keep, when we die, we need to keep them, yoked. And I make a motion that we hire David first.
One other thing, the pay is $14.70 per hour. That was based on a 40-hour week. Did y'all want to increase that to 15 or anything, since it's only a 28-hour week, or you want to leave it like it is?
Holding our other 28-hour employee making.
14, but I'll start off at 14, then went to 40, but he went to 14.70 this year, no, I was kidding.
He went to 1470 for 40 hours.
Well, is David gonna be working 40 hours?
So we'll be working 28 hours.
Instead of giving him, you're asking if we want to give him more per hour, but cut the hours.
But the hours is gonna be 28, it's cut from 40 already.
All right.
Yeah.
So Dallas was making 1470, and we're just replacing him.
Yeah, that's fine, you know, I just was making that, you know.
No, Dallas was working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was working 40 hours.
Plus, there was a cost.
And, you know, after the 6 months probation, y'all give a raise anyway, you know, so.
Let's just wait till 6
I
months.
rather do that. I'd rather do that. We started what we advertised at, and then it's 6 months. It's
That's about $2.50 an hour more than the county starts at for their $2.50 an hour more than the county starts at for their inmate supervisor.
We've been 40 hours, we've talked about some of them apply.
No,
While we're talking about that, is 6 months a long probation period?
it is. Yeah.
Did the county, and I want to know without having to ask you, but I was thinking we did 3 months.
90 days, usually,
90 days.
but our personnel policy says 6 months.
Okay, okay. So to do that, we have to change the policy or ask the attorney, can we, by discretion?
Because
We
y'all
may
asked,
not do it short, but it just seems like 6 months work, a half a year. You don't know what somebody will do in a half a year. I don't
Yeah.
know.
and it's,
Of course, we don't sometime after it is 2 years.
for 6 months and 3
Well-
days, they go back to school system, you know.
You know, it's, it's just reality, you know. They start off real good and then they become black.
This
Okay?
is-
That happens every time.
Yeah.
And you know, we sure need to do a little bit of checking up on that too. And make sure they don't take off when they need to be working. You know, things come up, you have to take off, but I don't know, we need to keep off. And I'm sure you do that, Margaret, so, you know, we need to sort of keep them working, I mean, you know.
Let's just leave that at six
Yeah.
months then, and now if we ever want to change our policy, we can always address it then.
And y'all asked me about, you know, looking at the policy to see if it needed updated, see if we could, and it's in our policy already to promote within. You know, if, you know, like I said, if and when I retire, we want to promote Marcy to the clerk, you can do that without, and advertise for her position, you know. We already have that in our policy, not have to advertise that position.
If we have somebody within, they can be promoted if we choose to,
Yes, it's already in our policy.
or we can advertise.
Mhm.
But then if we elevate that person, that new vacant office has to be
Mhm,
advertised.
that's right.
Just so that we start out right, you know, we never want to be offensive or anything like that, and David left us, and there may be some tension in his leaving and things like that. We don't want that if we give it. Tim is still going to be our maintenance director, and anything that David and his inmate will do will check in and out through Tim. And Tim, do you keep that chain of command? Is that what we think?
Well, yeah, I mean, we need to, I just think we need to tell David that.
I've made him fully understand that I have.
Okay. It don't need to be who's working for who. We need to know that.
Work together.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, without seeing the application and assuming that he can pass do we need to make that contingent on passing the?
Let's continue.
Yeah,
On passing the,
Yeah.
okay, all right, that's your motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
But one thing, he's gonna have to go to school a week or two.
Yeah, 40 hours. He'll get paid for 40 hours that week.
Okay, good deal,
yeah.
good deal.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Chair votes aye. Mr. Roxanne?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I mean, yes.
Okay, in your package, y'all asked me to upgrade y'all on the grants. You have a grant update, right there. Possum Palace Phase 1, we've received our final inspection and certificate of occupancy. We have submitted our final payments to the state of Florida, and we should be able to apply when the next cycle opens for Phase 2. There may be a hiccup in that, but we'll address that at the January meeting. The potable water project is $330,110. We get a new generator, new piping, and new submersible pump for well 2.
We have a grant for that.
We have a grant for that. We haven't biweekly meetings on that. We haven't started those yet, but we have a grant.
okay.
These are grants that we have.
Oh,
Okay, and the new piping, we had some discussion on that before as to whether or not to tie in, it needs to be
No,
larger.
this is
This-
a piping
this one.
from
Oh.
the, John, correct me if I'm wrong, the potable water project is the piping is from the pump to the elevated storage tank, which is very rusted and,
It's gonna be from the pump to the tower, correct?
yeah, to the elevated.
Okay, the other one was about replacing.
Yeah, and-
DOT comes.
Yeah, and John can update us on that some too, but we've come to the conclusion that we don't need that 8-inch, 10-inch pipe from the well to the,
Correct. You won't lose any fire flow from gaining, if you come from 6-inch to a 10-inch out here, you're still okay. You don't have to, change this to a 10 to a 10, if that makes sense.
that is DOT and Dewberry engineer, utility engineer saying that, we'll be okay with that 6-inch line going to that 8-inch line.
Yes,
It don't sound right, but they say it's not.
you'll be fine.
Okay.
I looked into it, and DOT wouldn't do it if it was gonna foul up anything and cause a lower pressure. So you'll be fine.
Will that 6-inch line fill up a 10-inch line? I mean,
It's 8-inch.
Yeah.
See, it will.
Line?
It will.
Yeah. Okay. But this is from the one that takes it out of the ground.
Puts it up.
So that, yeah, that's gonna replace your pump, and it's gonna replace your associated yard piping to the tower, and that's it as far as I'm aware. I think
And a
that's,
new generator.
and a generator, okay, and a generator. Good.
Okay.
And our drainage department on Second Avenue, we have $407,542 in that. That's gonna replace that sinkhole drain there, or the culvert there with and do some drainage, and I'll do some paving around the drainage. It won't pave the whole road, the whole road's not in bad shape. It's
So I
just-
think there's two, I think that's a double 48 right now, I think. Margaret, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's a double 48 pipe. We're gonna run some modeling on that and just put a box culvert there to help, collect all that water and then pave back, whatever the grant says. It'll be 50 foot on each side of the box culvert, however far the grant allows us to pave back. But yes, it'll tie in where smooth transition. That's the goal, is to put a box culvert on there to help, flood on Second Avenue.
Are you familiar with the one on Pioneer Road about halfway to Vernon? Was that one of your projects? Or?
And I'm not familiar with it. Cliff showed me what you have funding for.
I'm thinking that that's what it might be. When we were talking about Mr. Haddock's place down there. in Edgewood.
Yeah.
I think that's about what it was like.
Yeah.
Pipeline did that, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
So Cliff just really went over with me what you have and what, some grants that y'all gotten approved and designed already. And he showed me what you have funding, but not completed any design. Showed me the scope job, showed drove and rode with you guys, the two that were funded through CDBG DR, I believe.
Mitigation,
Or mitigation, in my case, the CDBG mid. So I'm aware of all those, but if you have another issue of drainage or flooding, you may want to shoot me an email and just, we can meet you up here and show me. I'm not familiar with Pioneer Road.
No, that was for a reference. That's a county project way down.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
didn't know
Sorry.
if y'all, this company did that, or they got several engineers, yeah.
No.
And I think Ms. Carter's right, I think it was actually maybe the pipeline, natural
I
gas
got you.
line passes through
I
there.
got you.
On the one that you're talking about, this project, I know you'll do grades on like that. Is that going to be elevated?
Potentially, but without elevating the road, you can do some, but you can't just raise that that culvert and then everything else, because it's just gonna flood where you bottom back out to the normal grade, We can raise it a little bit through there, as much back as we can pave.
And
I can tell you, we've looked at the model and that collects a lot of water. There's a lot of water flows to that little,
changes sometimes happen so slowly and like that. And John and I will remember, Ms. Carter was raised out of town. I don't know if you'll remember or not, and that was her daughter. There used to be a wooden bridge there, and water ran under 365 days a year. I've never seen that underwater until the last number of years, 15, 20 years, something like that. It was a wooden bridge. It was two metal culverts in there. It was a bridge again with a run plank across it, and I don't even know what's there now. Maybe a couple of rubber pipes or plastic pipes.
Yeah, I think it's just some-
But something happened from that running free flow for you. My granddaddy owned that north side of that, and his cows used to go down on the drain when that little old field out there. And I'd like to see it not flood. And,
Sure. Well, I think, once you put these box culverts in, it will help, because those pipes are probably, have some silt in them, that's probably dirt. So you had two 48-inch holes. Well, now the dirt is probably obviously filled up over time, and it may only be pushing 30 inches of water through there instead of two 48s.
Yeah.
Over time, and that's just natural, that's gonna happen.
Well,
You're not gonna stop that,
that
but-
we drained Edward Lewis's fish pond, and he was very unhappy. You remember that? Yeah, he was,
We go in there and just whatever the model says, we put in a box culvert of 60, we'll make it work according to DOT standards for sure. So,
On our Michael MIT funds, we have Coral Lane, Old Drive, $1,044,000. $928 for paving and drainage.
Do we have that with some?
We have that. These are all grants that we have. We have not got anything on this list that we don't have in progress. The CDBG CD or COVID, $1,384,090 for the Collins House. Ford out, $50,000 for Possum Palace Park. This will close out in April. We're in the final stages of that one, as well as the George Rogers Park. Also, we have the two Scott projects, which are Jackson Street and Jefferson Street. We don't have the final amounts on that because they won't issue those contracts till June of 2023 for 2024 fiscal year.
So you're not gonna get the agreement for those until 2020, until June?
June 2023.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll get our agreements on those. What she told me yesterday.
So, can I ask Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, so that cycle opens back up Saturday.
Yeah, we got it on our agenda here.
So do y'all, and you don't really have to tell me a road this second, but do y'all have another, section of roadway identified that you may want to apply for, for the next fiscal year? And well, let's do in March.
Well, we can discuss that, y'all got it in your package right there.
I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No, that's okay, we need to.
I thought about that when you brought that up. I can't believe they're not sending out agreements until June.
I think I was going to ask you a question. We got Scott that was approved by the legislature in 2021, most likely,
No, 2022.
22.
Well,
So that fiscal year started in July with them, with the state, and we're not going to get an agreement till next year.
well, this one that we're fixing to apply for is fiscal year 2025 before we get a contract on this. And that's the problem with these grants. You can apply and your engineers can work out the cost estimate, but you don't know what these prices are going to do for asphalt and everything else 3 years from now. It's just 22. We don't get a contract for 24 on this one and a contract for the other one on 25. So it's
I
tough.
would still find the road, apply, even since you got one, you may not get this cycle, but we can still apply. I mean, I'll do that application for free. They're not super hard. They're pretty simple, and it's worth doing just so they know that, hey, there's other issues, there's other areas within Wausau that need some attention. And so I would recommend let's throw in an application. You can only do one, so it won't be a difficult thing. But I would definitely find a road to submit, in my opinion. And again, it may not get funded, but the more you submit it, the more they know about it, the more it's on their radar, hey, this is an issue.
And they have some requirements for those that are,
Sure.
that they have to be
What?
the road is an evacuation route. The road has high levels of agricultural traffic. The road is considered a major arterial route, and whether the road is considered a feeder road. Now, we have no road in town that is worse than 3rd Avenue, but I don't know if that one would qualify.
I don't know that that's as much, because those are for the county and the city. I don't know that they look much at those.
Okay.
Those are more for county saying, hey, make sure you get us roads that maybe connect 77 to 79 or something along those lines. For the county, the MSCOPs are just one, so they're not as hard on those 4 areas. And from what I've noticed, from other cities that we've applied for. So I think if y'all find areas that are needed, maybe you go to your worst road that's right and look at it and let me put together a cost estimate, or show me a couple of different ones, and I can kind of come out here with another guy that works with me, and we can maybe present to y'all which one we feel is best and suitable for this application.
Well, one road I would like for y'all to look at is this road that goes.
We got that one, it's
You
funded.
done funded, okay.
We funded Jefferson and Jackson.
So Jefferson and Jackson,
Okay. Oh,
That
that's
3rd Avenue is just about dirt.
Yeah.
3rd Avenue.
And it's be a small project, it's less than, it's a city block,
Yeah.
Well, so I was gonna look at 3rd Avenue, but you could double that. You may, like you did this one, Jackson and Jefferson, you may do 3rd and 4th, or 3rd and 2nd. Well, that's up to y'all, whatever you guys wish.
Yeah. Before we get much further into that, let's go back to proof work. Everything that's on here is something that we have.
That is fine, yes.
And only the last one is the only one that we don't have bricks on. Everything else, we either have bricks on or we committed. We're not gonna lose that.
No, we're not gonna lose those others, we just don't have the contract. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some glue and glue it on.
Okay, I agree that this one needs to be done, the one in front of City Hall needs to be done, and I'm not too sure, you know, all of these is like a city blocks wide, so all of them together may be a quarter of a mile, quarter to a half. But this one, and maybe even the one there on the other side of your house, if we're gonna pave this one all the way down to the corner there, then turn it and connect it back to 77 or something like that.
But, you know, Second Avenue from 77 west to Pioneer Road, even though if we get the 50 feet on each side of the drain, that's still a highly traveled road that would be good for,
Which one's second? Right here.
and right here from, if we go from, say Jackson Street to Pioneer Road with that
Oh,
Second Avenue
yeah,
problem.
oh, yeah. You said Pioneer, yeah.
So there's Second Avenue from Pioneer back to Jackson.
To Jackson, yeah. We got paving from Jefferson and Jackson, which is across of Second Avenue. But that's a highly traveled road, especially from the Tom Thumb out to the park and through
Probably the
here.
most traveled road in town. Probably the most traveled road in town.
And we can talk about this again. I mean, Margaret and I can discuss it some more too, off, you know, out of this meeting.
We
but-
still can vote in January,
Yes, ma'am. And we'll have to adopt a resolution too.
in January?
Yeah, we can do that in January.
Okay.
We can even do it in February, just kind of give some guidance, I can start, and we can upload the resolution whenever. We can do the resolution in June, it depends on when the meeting is,
January the
I think
19th.
they're
is
due
our-
March the 17th, so yeah, you have January, February for sure,
Okay,
that you can adopt that resolution.
all right.
Okay. Yeah, if we can get it in January, the sooner we can.
Yeah, if we do it in
sooner we can
January,
know what-
make it, yeah.
Sooner we know what we,
Okay.
I think that'd be better.
So March the 17th is a Friday, and y'all meet March the 16th, will be the 3rd. So just saying, you could adopt a resolution as late as in March.
We'd rather do it in
But
January.
I think we can do one in January, February. Like I say, I can have all my end done if y'all tell me the route y'all want to take, and then you adopt that whenever, and I can upload it, we're done.
Okay.
So,
Do y'all think the Second Street is the, yeah. And I'd like to go to Pioneer, but if we just went to Jefferson and to Jackson, and connect all the new pavement, that would be great, because that post office in Tom Thumb, that is beat to death.
Yeah.
And then there behind the top one where the four-way stop is, that's a
Absolutely.
bad spot.
That's a bad place.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, all right. Okay, anything else, John?
that's it. So Second Avenue.
And, so you said we could put two in, so we could put Second Avenue, and our second one is Third Avenue?
Third looked like
It's pitiful.
it was split up, is that correct? It looked like.
Yeah, but we only want this section,
On the what section close to Jefferson.
from Jackson
Jackson.
to 77.
Jackson City.
Jackson to 77, and then Second Avenue. Okay.
Okay.
You also have in your packets the announcement on the legislative incentives grant. You'll have the House rule there and everything else, and these are due, also, I think they're doing, I think these are due in February also, aren't they, John? The legislative incentive grants, February, March? They just,
It's typically early, they kind of vary, there's never a set date like them, Scott. They may be February, I've looked at it, but I don't remember the due date. I want to say I got an email from, the House of Representatives that said that they would like them in by February,
yeah, February, yeah.
like 10th or something.
So this is for y'all to think about, but, David Fox came by today, and he is, you know, they will, They do these also, and so does Dewberry, but David said there's a question out there right now. We've just finished up the Possum Palace with CDBG funds. David said there's a question in DEO now that says that if CDBG funds were used for a building, you cannot use those CDBG funds again for a building for 5 years. Our Possum Palace definitely needs to be fixed before 5 years if we could get legislative incentive monies for phase 2 of that Possum Palace, you know. But they're supposed to have an answer for me by next week on that. So, you know, but we need to think about what we want to put in for our legislative incentive process. You know, we got some offers on some other things here in town that we don't know full details on yet. But this is just something to be thinking about for January, that we need to figure out which project we want Dewberry and Fred Fox to submit for us for the legislative incentive funds. And if it's the Possum Palace, we really need to politics some legislator.
Yeah. The other one was the piece of property we discussed a month ago.
Yes, we haven't got much details on it
We
yet.
don't have what an asking price for that would be. You know how to get in touch with Teresa?
I get Tommy on it.
See if you can get an asking price, because when if we do a legislative thing, we're gonna have to know how much we're asking for. If it comes down to being able to get that or finish the Possum Palace, I almost believe we've got to finish the Possum Palace. The other would be great if we could use it to attract a business or attract something, but that Possum Palace needs to be, it needs to look like one building.
It does. And I think Dewberry has all the cost estimates and everything else, all the design and everything ready for phase 2 of that palace. You know, that would be an easy submittal for the second phase of it, you know.
What idea do you have, Margaret, when it be started, the second phase?
Contingent upon funding.
Okay. So
If they do the legislative incentive, you can get those pretty quick and start pretty quick if you got everything shovel ready to go, you know.
It'd be in a phase 2, and we've got lots of stuff already ready to go, and all we're lacking is money. Could we theoretically have this before our next fund day?
Yeah.
Depending on who bids and supplies.
It depends on if they award, I mean, everything seems to be so pushed back, you know, like the MSCOP. I never would have thought typically those agreements go out in October or November, and she just said you won't get one until June. So things are just so pushed back, I can't even give you a date.
Yeah.
I would be scared to, you know what I mean, I just would be,
That's good. Yeah, if you change, you can't.
well, yeah, I would be scared to say a date, because it just is, all is just so up in the air now. Things are just not like they used to be.
And there's so many staff changes at DDO. I mean, we get a different rep every week.
But to give you an answer, I would say no. I just don't think.
It's better to surprise us, especially if you get it done and just to.
There you go, that's why if it is a yes, it's a win-win.
Yeah, that's right. And we got to consider too that, in the spring, we'll be under contract, and in the summer, probably under construction on 77, so.
They tell us they're gonna be here in May of 2023 to take our utility lines out of the ground.
So there'll be lots of, activity in Wausau in the coming year.
And just with these
And
grants.
you want to be helping us with that.
I think DOT is doing some of that, right? Some of the utility work is DOT.
They're building it out, yeah. Now Cliff and Dewberry pro bono, you know, they work for us. They've
Yeah.
done all the red lining, they've done all the locating of our lines, they've done the plans, we sent them back to DOT, so DOT knows where our lines are and what's going on with them.
And if that needs to be updated or, I mean, yeah, we will continue to do that.
In your experience, if you have had experience with this thing like the widening or something like that, is there a lot of customer interruption?
And potentially, you know, I'm sure with all the lateral, you know, the connections, there's gonna be some connection issues. I don't exactly know what DOT's planning on doing. As far as I know, they're just replacing the main water line, going from a 6 to an 8 along Highway 77, correct?
Correct. And reconnecting our service lines.
So that, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some connection issues, but nothing major, I wouldn't think. That should be pretty easy. If that answers your question, I don't.
Yeah, I think it is. We need to be prepared. We need to change our phone numbers, what we do now. You read your phone.
But I don't think, I mean, just popping out a line and popping a new one and connecting them, it shouldn't be a major issue. How many linear feet are they replacing? Do you know? Off the top of your head, you don't know?
They're moving, no, I don't, but they're moving our main line that goes through, down Bonnie Lane to Ford Lane. They're moving it north with a realignment to realign the creek there, then they're coming 77 south. Our line goes from Hagen Road to, just, about a half a mile north of Bend Road. We go just past the pipeline, maybe quarter of a mile, quarter of a mile past the pipeline. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Where we terminate? That Bend Road?
No, we terminated Joe Tharp's there. There's a hydrant just past Joe Tharp's.
Yeah, quarter or latest.
Do you have some of those plans? You mind emailing me those?
I can.
I'll text you, I think you may have my email address, but I'd like to look at them.
Okay.
The one you said on my name, we got an easement that goes across. They're gonna take that up and.
They're gonna take that out, move it, because they're gonna realign Finch Circle, they're gonna realign Finch Circle, and then they'll tie us back into, Ford Lane, off of Finch Circle, on the new Finch Circle.
So Miss Gidney and Paul, that easement goes across how many properties, sir?
Kidneys and Culver's.
All covered. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be,
I think we've already bought out all that.
that'll be good, getting that out of,
How that swamp.
all that swamp and out of that private property, that'll be good, okay?
Okay. Office of the Public Works will be closed December the 22nd and December the 26th and January the 3rd. The fire department banquet is tomorrow night. They're planning on eating somewhere between 6:30 and 7 because of them having to work and it being on Friday nights, you know, so y'all just have to start for it because you better be there.
All right.
But, y'all are more than welcome and invited to go. And that's all I have.
So you close the 22nd, that's next
Thursday.
next Thursday, and then the
Monday after.
following Monday, of New Year's, just one day.
One day, yeah.
Yep. Any questions on the clerk's report? Okay.
Oh, and I need to update too, Roger, on your Copeland, out on Lloyd lots. Yeah,
I
just,
wonder if there wasn't one little thing.
that's it, the Copeland. I could never get coordinated with the Rustin lot to get down here, but, over funeral, I'm gonna come do that for you.
Okay.
The Lloyd family is giving us some lots, if we'll put a piece of Copeland and square theirs off, they're giving us back some family plots up there for the city to have. So all we gotta do is put about 22 feet of Copeland there.
Giving us about half of, not half of the long lot, but probably half of what they had. We're running out of spaces.
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Okay. All right, Ms. Carter, anything? Mr. Wilson? And the chair has
That's a little careful what Paul would, I could tell.
That's a big one, Elizabeth.
It's too close to Christmas. John, did you have anything else you're just used to with us tonight?
She's gonna try to come every meeting also.
That's great.
I should be here every meeting unless I have something pop up that,
That's
unfortunately, I'll be here.
We appreciate that.
And if I'm not here, it's because of that, I reach out to Miss Margaret, Miss Riley every time, and she says there's nothing, and I may not, but other than that, I'll be here.
Mark,
to
Mark, is there anything going on here on the 23rd on Friday night?
Y'all, the
So
next,
we could come in and set up tables that night and then we'll
Yeah.
be, okay.
Okay. Okay, to each of you that have served so faithfully this year, Merry Christmas. And to those who may be watching our recorded meeting, Merry Christmas to our public, and we'll stand adjourned. See you in January.